Okay, folks, I'm going to apply some linseed oil to just this face. This will go down into the box like this. This will be the bottom of it. There won't be any finish here. There won't be any finish on the back side because that's going to get glued. There will be finish on this top and on the reveal that comes out, but that won't go on until after it's all glued in and set in place. But I want to, this is the inside face because that's the inside of the bevel. So I'm gonna lay this down here and I'm just gonna apply some finish using this towel. Here's a little bit of finish right here. And I'm just gonna wet the towel a little bit and let it absorb in and just start to apply a little bit of finish. I'm not gonna get the corners, just going on that face. And I'm using the light right here coming down and kind of looking down at a glance to see any spots that aren't shiny, meaning they didn't get wet by that. And it wouldn't hurt to put finish on the side that's going to touch the flock because it'll be dry by the time I glue this in. I'm not sure how long I have to wait on that. But I'm putting plenty of finish on that inside side so that it can absorb in there. And I'll wipe off the excess after a few minutes here. So that's the first piece. And it's gonna get set right here. I'm going to do the next piece. It's gonna get set right here, just so I can keep them in order of the way they're supposed to go on there. Again, looking askew with the light behind it to see the parts I haven't done yet. All right, now that piece is got plenty of oil on it. And it will soak in. Once it soaks in, I'll wipe off the excess, any excess, and then just let it dry. They recommend 3 coats. I have discovered I can get by with 2, but we'll just have to see how that goes. Whether I've got time to do 3 coats or not, because basically it's a 24-hour time period between coats. And this is something you can always apply the coats later at any time. Obviously, you wouldn't be able to apply it on these faces because it would be next to that flocking. So a couple of coats on these is going to work just fine. Or even just 1 coat. And here's how I know. This is a piece of the same oak. It's been finished. It is looks just perfect, and it is not a problem with that looking finish. And the way it's getting shiny is I've got just a tiny bit on my fingers that goes back in here. But you can easily apply another coat, but it'll be fine. Okay, so that was this piece. And now, here comes the last piece right here. And I'm kind of wiping this off. Looking down from an angle, so I see the glare. And just getting it thoroughly soaked. And that's ready to go in that box. I may read on the can to see what the length of time it recommends on things, but because I'm anxious to glue this stuff in pretty soon, and maybe just get by with one coat on the inside face. You can see that I'm pouring back the part that I didn't use. That can has lasted me quite a while. I don't consider linseed oil to be a fine finish, but it's a perfectly acceptable finish, let's put it that way. And I like the fact that the oil is a drying type oil. Some oils don't dry, like mineral oil that you put on a butcher block, it never really dries, it never gets hard. This oil, because it was boiled, it's got a chemical property that there's no additives, but there's a chemical property to this kind of linseed oil that comes from the flaxseed, by the way. But anyway, that causes it to dry pretty quickly. It's one of the fastest drying oils there is, which is what makes it so popular for woodworkers. Okay. Oh, one more thing. Any oily rag that you have with this stuff, you need to completely open it up and let it dry. This oil, an oily rag like this, if you just wad it up and throw it in a trash can, it has the tendency to self-ignite. And the reason why is because it starts developing heat, and it can develop quite a bit of heat during that drying process and ignite. So what you do is you just open it up like this and just I'm gonna lay it over the side of my trash can for the remainder of the day like that, and it will be good enough at that point. All right, folks, thanks for watching. This is one of the shorter videos. I'm not even gonna tell you to like, subscribe, click that button. I guess I just did tell you to do that, didn't I? The bell button reminds you when I'm getting new videos. So thanks, talk to you later. Okay, I just finished wiping off the oil from these pieces. And so that's, I mean, it just to the touch, it feels dry, but I can see a little bit of oil coming off on my fingers right there. But those will stay for the rest of the day before I glue them into here. But what I want to do now is, you see this is where the one is on the top, that little tiny little edge. I mean, it is so thin, but I want to get rid of it. And it's the same thing on the bottom edge. So what I'm going to do is go over here to the planer right here, and I'm going to see if I can set my camera up to watch that. Give me a minute here. And will that work like that? It's rather precarious. All right, I need to get some kind of weight to put on that to make sure it doesn't fall off. All right, here's a block of wood right here that I'm going to put on the back tripod just to try to help it that way. Yep, I need two of them. Here's the other block, same thing. I use these for glue up stuff, straight edges or blocks or whatever. So if that vibrated a lot, it would come off, but I think it's okay like that. Let me see. Yeah, we get a fairly good look at that. So there's where that little edge is right there on the big part of the box. And I've got the front of it set on just about as narrow a cut as I can get, as thin a cut as I can get, 1/128th of an inch. And so I'll put my hearing protection on and we'll fire this bad baby up. So if you didn't hear me, what I was saying was that came off just perfectly, and those first two bites you heard are going across that cross grain. And I probably need to go a little bit slower, but it didn't do any damage on that other one. So I'm just gonna go slow on this one just because I feel like I need to. But it got rid of that little edge perfectly. So here it goes again. Forgot to turn on my dust collector, but it's hooked up. I'm going to turn it on to pull the dust that's inside the system out of there. And that ought to be plenty. Okay, let me bring the camera back over here now and see how well this fits together. All right, so we're back over here. You can see all that. And I need to find the one to match up on both sides. That is nearly a perfect fit. Let me see. If you look across, let me get it level on the ground here. If you look across this, edge, let me get it so it sits flat. If you look across this edge, I don't see any gap. I can't even tell where the cut is around there by looking at that, until it's like a magic trick. Once you move it, then you can see the cut. So anyway, I think it's good. All right, that's the next step in the finishing before I finish this box. I think what I'm going to do now is apply linseed oil to this inside of this. I'll move these pieces out of the way over here in the same orientation. And do I need to do any sanding? Yeah, I probably need to do a little bit of sanding. Not that I want to do much, because I just want to make sure there's no fuzzies. I mean, I am so lightly touching it. I want it to be sharp edges, because I want that lid to close like that. So I'm just doing very light touches on that. On the inside face a tad, a little bit, just in case there's any fuzzies left in that planer. Same thing on the box here. See that little fuzzy right there? That's all I'm trying to do, is get rid of those little tiny little grains of wood that are poking out as a result of running through that planer. You still see them right there. There's one on the inside right there. But, all right, I think we're good. All right, so I'm not gonna finish the top yet because I wanna glue those side pieces in there first. But what I will do is go ahead and start the finish on the bottom here. This is the towel that I use to wipe off the excess, so it'll be fine for working with this linseed oil. And I'll start on the inside of the box. I don't know why. Well, because I gotta hold it as I'm doing the inside. So there's some linseed oil in here. And before I folded the cloth properly, and I think I'll do that again. This is just, they call this a shop towel, but it is a paper towel, but it's much thicker than regular paper towels. And as a result, it doesn't have any lint coming off of it, which is a good thing. So I'm finishing the bottom of this. inside bottom first. This will all get wiped out one more time. And again, I'm using the light coming down right here as a way to see the reflection of what I've missed in terms of finishing thus far. I don't see anything, so let me just continue on to do the sides now. I'm trying to put this where the camera can see it. You see how easy it is to put this finish on. I've got to get the corners really good because it's hard. I mean, just like a brush, you got to put a brush down in the corner. With this paper towel, I've got to get an edge like that to get down that corner and kind of squeeze it a little bit. If I was left-handed, you could see this better. That last little corner, I'm having to press down real hard. Unless that's glue, I'm gonna put a little bit of extra on there and see. Nope, it came out that time. It's just I have a hard time getting that corner, so it wasn't glue that was causing that problem. Let me just move on quickly because once you've seen some of this, you've seen enough. I like the way that's looking on the inside there. And you can see some of the spalting that has begun. Oh, this side I didn't get. And inside this corner, you can see a little bit of the wood filler. This is where I had that problem. I had to put some wood filler in there, and it's a little darker now on the on this, but at least there's no glue squeeze out causing any problems. Right now, that's that top edge I'm getting. And now I'm gonna do the back and then I'll do the sides. I said the back, I mean the bottom. And then the sides. I guess I could take my hearing protection off because there's nothing loud going on now. See how cool looking is that knot right there, right in the bottom, especially when it's finished. I'm putting a little extra in here because it's like I said, this oak is an open grain wood, and I want to give it the first coat time to soak in a little bit. So at this point, I'm using. Oh, look how the see that spline is yet to get finish on it, and when I put it on there, it darkens up. So that's just great. I love the way those splines look against this oak box. That was the corner that didn't get glued, didn't come down good, but it's good enough. It has to be, because I can't do any more fixes on this thing. I'd have to tear it up to fix that anyway. All right, so that looks good. And I need to set a timer on my watch so I don't forget to come out here and wipe the excess off. I'll do that after about 15 minutes. And we'll go from there. One last face right here. And I think also what I'm gonna do is put let me put one coat on the spalted top. I don't need to put it on the oak sides yet. Maybe I do. But anyway, hold on one second because I'm going to go get a piece of a couple of stand-ups to put that on. So it won't stick to the silicone. And you ask, what do I mean by stand-ups? Here they are. pyramids, triangles that you can set down. And as long as you got 3 points of contact, it will do just fine off that shelf like that. So, oh, I said I was going to do the spalted top because remember the experimental pieces of spalted top that I did? That's the one coat that didn't darken up quite like I wanted it to, but I think it's going to require more coats, so I'm just going to go ahead and get a start on this one. Put plenty of it on there. I might as well get the edge right there, the end grain over here, and this other edge right here. At this point, I'm beginning to think there's no reason for me not to go ahead and finish the outside of this oak on this lid. I was thinking there was glue there, but that's just spalting showing through. Spalting is the discoloration of the wood. Now I'm looking for that one corner. Yeah, well, the one corner that had a little bit of wood filler on there is right there, and you can see it, but you don't know that it's not supposed to be there. And I need to erase this one and come up with another way to mark it. I guess I'll have to put a mark on the inside because that inside will indeed be unfinished. So I've got my one in there, and let me take my eraser and erase that mark. And that reminds me, I don't think I got rid of the one. You know what? That oil cleaned that one right off of there, which means I'm not sure which way this goes, but I think it only goes one way. It'll only fit one way. Now here's, I don't know whether you can see this in the light, but you see how that's looks like it's all soaked in right there, and it's, you know, shiny in other spots. That's the spalting. The spalting is soaking up more oil than the rest of it. So I need to leave a heavy coat on there. I'd said that I'm going to go ahead and do these sides like this. I need to stay away from the inside because I want to be able to glue up those liners, those oak liners on the inside. I wouldn't have to stay away from putting oil on this, but I don't need to because I'm gonna have to oil that, the reveal part of those liners on that. So, all right, now all the splines have received oil and they're dark as they can be. Makes a great looking contrast for that thing. And now I'm looking for, all right, so you can still see, I think, where this has, the spalting has, I mean, oh, I'm trying to, if you can tilt this in the light just right, I'm trying to look from where the camera looks to see if you can see that, but it's just right there where it's soaked up, and then it's got other places all over it. So I'm giving it one last try to get the soaked up. And the next coat will hopefully do the trick. In fact, I'm gonna find out because see, I've got this piece right here that I had put oil on once before. I'm just gonna go ahead and put it on there again and see if it continues to soak up. I'm out of oil in my little cup. My cup no longer runneth over. Yeah, it's still doing a little bit of soaking up, but not, I mean, not nearly as much as I would have, that I see on the first initial coat. So probably the spall at the top is going to take 3 coats, and we'll just deal with that as it comes. Okay, that's the finishing right now. I need a little bit of oil all the way around this top here to be soaking in. And I got some in the corners there, but what I'm hoping is that I can reach in those corners after it's had a little time to soak up, and when I come back and wipe it off. I won't show you that on the camera, but that's it. All right, so we're making our way, finishing the box. I just used some linseed oil, some mineral oil to take off that linseed oil that had come down on there. And look at these billowed up spots where the linseed oil was. It was soaking up into that silicone, which is weird. I thought the silicone was impervious, but apparently not. I'm hoping that dries and goes back down. And but they are little boils that have come up on this thing. It did clean that paint off nicely that was on there, the black paint. Well, it was the black adhesive from the flocking. It did clean that off there nicely. The mineral oil did, but it did some strange stuff here. And I'm not sure whether to blame the linseed oil or the mineral oil or a combination of those two, but that's interesting. Putting the light down at an angle, you can really see that a lot better. It looks like maybe the surface of the moon or something like that. The blue moon. I'm not going to sing. Folks, I would sing Blue Moon in the shower, but certainly not on a YouTube video. You'd think a YouTuber would be, kind of an extrovert, but I'm not, and so I'm just not going to do it. Anyway, be sure to like, subscribe, click the bell to get notified of new videos, and to share, and to, what was the other thing? Comment. Oh yeah, comment. And I'd appreciate it. It'll help us a lot. And talk to you later, folks.